I'd love to see it, so.
Yeah, you wanna grab that real quick?
Okay, good.
Okay, wait one second, just get the. Fantastic, thank you, sir. Okay. Now 6:30, I would like to call the regular town council meeting for January 14th to order. Can we all raise and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May you all be seated. Please silence your cell phones so they're not disrupted. But first, just gonna start with the public comment. We just had somebody come into it. So Kelly Newer is the first one for the public comment. Good morning. Good evening.
It's a day.
It's a day. It is.
It's a day. My question really is, when can we expect to see our water bills and our tax bills? Typically, those are already in our mailboxes. Check it before I came here, just to be sure. I've had a few neighbors say that they hadn't received theirs. The water bill, occasionally this happens, but just for fairness from a resident, our due date doesn't change, but you have lessened the time for people to be able to get their payments here, and that's not really fair to the residents. And according to your charter, the tax bill, which you guys have had the numbers for months, is to be out as soon as possible, and it is typically out by now. So the perception, the public perception, is that it's being held because of it being a hot topic for the election. It's not really a great look. So that is the perception and the assumption that has been brought to me, and mine's usually here by now too. So I would like to know when I can expect those and when our residents can expect those. Please and thank you.
That is no one else for the public comment. I would like to actually move to Jamie Sharp because we're going to move a couple things, our solicitor on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There were two items I think that we're looking to move to on the agenda. We have George Love here from Love and Associates. I see that he's item A under new business. In order to save the town's resources and Mr. Love's time, I thought was to move that to the beginning of the agenda after approval of minutes, or before approval minutes, I should say. And then also the item 6D, employee vacation, would be moved to after executive session. So I don't know if somebody wants to make a motion to amend the agenda as.
So moved. Second.
And the first motion by Mr. Donovan, I have a second by Mr. Moran. Do we have amendments or changes to that motion? No. Mr. Massey, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, so we will move those. That means Mr. Luff, you are up first.
You all right?
Yep, I'm making it.
Okay, so what I wanted to do today is kind of give you guys an update as to where we are with all the bookkeeping and trying to do all the write-up work. We started out and we coordinated our efforts with your audit team, and so we make sure we were on the same page as the auditors were when it comes time to try to put this all together. We've made tremendous progress in the cash. We now have cash all reconciled. Believe me, that's a milestone. Do we know where each one of the pieces go? No, not yet. We know where all the pieces are, but now we've got to break them apart. The reason for that is because some of the recording was done Whereas like take transfers. You had transfers that were done that sometimes didn't make it to the books at all. Doesn't mean the money's missing, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some of the transactions weren't fully recorded. So we need to make sure that each one of them are gonna have to get looked at and recorded. One of the other problems we have with deposits, it's fine if you put money together, like, if you had some grant money and some maintenance money or whatever, you put it together. You just gotta record it right within your books, because you'll never know what your revenue is. So right now, your revenue, we've gotta pull that apart, but at least we know what hit the bank. We know right now where we are as far as cash goes through 11/30. Now, obviously, we're gonna do December here real soon as all the statements and everything are put out. So I'd say we really have made some big strides in getting this thing under control a little bit. We still got a long way to go. Our next goal will be then to step back into the year 22 and start reconciling all of your accounts so that we can put work papers together. Work papers are kind of like the reconciliation of all your accounts that we're going to give the auditors. What is the end goal for that? The end goal is to make your audit go real quick and a little cheaper, because they don't have to do all that. Remember, we had 60, 70, 80 adjusting journal entries. It was ridiculous for the 2021 audit. In fact, you know, we actually, the auditor and I talked a little bit about it. You know, it's not where we want to be. It's not where they want to be. So we're going to try to prevent that. We're going to try to like get it so that we hand them a clean set of books for 22, hopefully 23 at the same time, and they're hoping to do 22, 23 at the same time, which would be a big step forward if we can knock that out. We're going to continue with like when the January of 26 is done, we'll do all the recs for that. Make sure this thing stays up to date while we continue to go and sift through everything and get it all square. There's some crazy stuff that we're not sure about. And I'm not saying it's anything wrong, we just don't understand. Like, from what Jessica was telling me, we don't have credit cards, is that right? We don't have any credit cards at all. But yet we got credit cards listed on the books. So we don't know what that is. Those are the things that we're gonna have to go back and try to figure out what is in that. And that's gonna just take time. At least we've got the pieces of the pie all together now. We at least know where the deposits match the bank. We've got a huge suspense account that we've been accumulating stuff that we've got to go back and try to break that deposit apart so it can be put in the right categories. Like grants, if there's truly some grants out there, I want to know where the grant money is, where the expenses were, who issued the grant, and what are their requirements on the account to make sure that we're in compliance with the issuance of that grant. This is just a hypothetical right now. But that's kind of in essence where we are. We're at least at a point where we've got everything tied down. Now we got to start breaking it apart year by year to get it ready. Going to take some time. It's just a part of the beast. It's going to take a little bit of time to take and figure out what's what. But we've made some tremendous strides, and from the feedback I'm getting, your staff has done a great job in helping Jessica and Ian move forward in this. So we're just going to keep plugging and chugging at it. But I thought it's been enough time to maybe give you guys an update. Where are we? How are we moving? I think we've made great accomplishment right now. It's not where you want to be. You want to be where, hey, we're up to date for 2025. We're getting there. It's just going to take time. Can I answer anybody's question on anything?
You said it's gonna take time. That's a very loaded statement. How much time are you?
I have no idea.
Rough estimate, no idea.
I won't even go there.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the reason why. I'll tell you the reason why. You've got over 4 years of books that haven't been reconciled and accounts haven't been put together. We gotta go back and do all that. And you know what? If we hit it and it goes real fast, fantastic.
Right.
If it doesn't, nothing I can do about it. I would be very remiss in basically saying, yeah, I think by the end of May, we can have this completely wrapped up. Because I have no idea. I have no idea. I didn't know cash would take this long. But cash has a lot of problems had a lot of problems and still does in breaking the pieces apart. To give you a timetable, I just don't know. I'd be wrong in telling you.
So next question, you said you got 2 people working here is that a daily basis? There's always.
No, that's,
Is that just rotating in and out?
they're rotating in and out. Dean
Okay.
comes in, Jessica comes in. It'll slow a little bit down now that we're into tax season a little bit, which we had talked about in the very beginning. It'll slow down a little bit, but we're gonna keep plugging and chugging. You should see somebody at least every week trying to make some strides forward.
Okay, again, I know you probably told me this, but I have a memory of an aunt. How much are they per hour? Cause I know it's on average, just average.
I don't even have that with me. I
Okay, that's
mean,
fine.
they'll be able to, you can see it in the bills, cause we're pretty detailed on the
Okay.
bills.
I'll get Miss Slater to grab those for me then when she gets a chance.
Yeah, cause we do it every week.
That's cool, no, I appreciate it.
Huh?
So from what you said, you're dealing with 4 years of unreconciled books is what you're going through right now?
Yes.
Okay.
And and that's not a criticism. I want to make
No,
sure everybody understands that. We're not sitting here and criticizing anybody who's involved in those books during that time period, because we don't know.
Right.
We don't know. All we know right now is cash was an issue. We got it resolved. Now we gotta go back year by year and try to figure out, like, what's in accounts receivable? What's your fixed assets? Do your fixed assets equal that? We've gotta go out and touch those fixed assets and say they still exist. You know, if you've got like a front end loader on there, we're literally gonna go out and say, show me the front end loader. Show me that should be on your fixed asset schedule. Just because that's what we need to do. We cannot go from 22 to 23 without making sure 22 is solid as a rock.
No assumptions is pretty much what.
No assumptions.
Which is the way.
And it's gonna be a show me thing. And we don't mean that bad on anybody. It's just that if you don't show me, then I don't know for sure it's there. And we gotta be sure it's there. That's what you guys want.
Yeah, hard numbers, man.
Mhm. Now, is there any things that you've given our staff to help make this process easier in the future? The things that you have diagnosed and what we've been doing that have been completely wrong we can now change immediately?
Great question. Because what I think's been going, and I think they will tell you this, is Jessica's been trying to train as she corrects. And saying, oh, this shouldn't be done like this. For example, and I'm speaking off of memory now, so please don't hold me concretely to this. But like if someone came in and paid their bill, credit card or whatever, they do it and throw it away. No, you can't do that. That's a government document. Can't do that. So we've corrected that stuff. And there's gonna be more corrections. Once we get this thing all tied out, I'm gonna recommend to you guys for us to stick around for a little bit and make sure that everything's implemented correctly. You need a policy and procedure book. And I'm not talking about, I know you guys are talking about payrolls. I'm not talking about that. I'm really talking about like, who reconciles cash? Does the person who deposits the money, writes a check, get the bank statement and reconcile cash? Horrible internal control there. One person's controlling everything. So we're gonna look at internal controls real hard. I literally was in a fraud seminar all day today, and they came out with a new statistic on certified audits. Most people think if I have a certified audit by a CPA firm, I got no fraud. That's not true. That's not even close. That percentage is now gone from 6% down to 3%. Chances of the auditing firm to find it, because that's not what their job is. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for fair presentation of the numbers. Do we have any issues here? I have no idea. Could this turn into a fraud engagement? Possible, possibly not. I just don't know at this point where we are. We're gonna start gathering stuff and trying to figure out where things are. If everything's great, it's just not posted right, life's good. We just gotta fix it so it's posted correctly. If there's issues that come up, that's when you'll see me again, and we'll talk about those issues. Hope and pray that that's not the case. I'm hoping and praying that we just need to clean it all up.
So from my understanding, what you're going through now is, if you look at it as like a checkbook, the items weren't lined out.
I'm sorry.
The items were not lined out. at all with anything incoming or
Rely
outgoing.
on it?
We're like lined out, like in like a checkbook, like you
Oh, yeah.
would say, this is going to this, we're taking this money out for this amount of money.
We've gotta make sure that what goes in the computer is going to the right line item.
Okay,
We also gonna look at verifying that, hey, we truly did buy this. We truly did have this construction done. And did we adhere to the bidding process? You know, you guys have a bidding process, I'm assuming, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm assuming you do. We need to make sure that that bidding process was done. You know, a lot of companies are like, hey, if it's over 50 grand, you gotta bid it out to 3 contractors. Was that done? We're gonna look at that. Because I think you need to know, not so much to hang somebody out to dry, that's not the point. The point is you need to be aware of any issues that we find. Are we gonna find it all? No, guarantee you we won't. Guarantee it. We're gonna find the bulk of it. I think we will find that. But we wanna make sure, and that goes into your policies and procedures manual. Who is getting these bids, who's awarding them, who's opening up the envelopes? I mean, it comes right down to who's opening up the envelope. You know, we prefer not the staff not to open up the envelope. We prefer an independent party to open up those envelopes. That's part of the bidding process whenever you bid jobs out. So we'll look at that stuff. It's gonna take some time, I'm telling you right now. It's just gonna take time. How much? I don't know. We're gonna go as quick as we can to try to wrap it up as quick as we can. But it's gonna take a little time.
Rather you take your time and do it right than worry about going fast and making a mistake.
Bingo. That's it in a nutshell. Because all we would do would be throw gas on your fire if we just blew through it. I don't wanna do that.
and the biggest thing of doing this process is finding out the proper internal controls that we need to be able to continue with this and doing it the correct way from here on out, so that way we know that our books are correct every single time, instead of getting information that is incorrect and then basing our judgments off of incorrect information.
I always equate it to like building a building. You know, this cash was a big deal to me, to get that under control, because that's your foundation. Our first floor is called year 2022, and we're gonna try to like hit that really hard. Then you're gonna go to 3, you're gonna go to 4, you're gonna go to 5, and then we're gonna say, okay, now we got everything looking really good. We think we're reporting everything properly. The financials, you know, whether they look good or bad or whatever, but at least they're right.
Mhm.
The next step's gonna be, how do we never let this happen again? And that's policies and procedures and internal control. Everybody says, you know, I get this question all the time. If I have great internal control, no one can ever misappropriate, steal, whatever word you wanna use for it, again from me. That's not true. That's hands down not true. What a great internal control means is how fast we catch them.
Yeah.
How fast did that internal control catch somebody doing something? You stop the bleeding right away. You have bad internal controls. We just had a case study, like I told you, I was at a seminar, on a guy and it's public knowledge, a guy who was working for stole $8 million. Started out stealing $5 grand to pay a credit card debt. At the end of the day, it was $8 million. It's crazy how it can escalate. You gotta understand, you may say, well, allowing her to have us, that's too much money. You don't understand fraud. And I'm not saying you have that, but just to use this as an example. Once somebody does something and they perpetuate a plan to do it, they gotta keep it going. Because if they stop it, somebody's gonna say, well, what happened to that vendor? We paid out $5 grand to that vendor, why don't we have him anymore, or her anymore? Then it starts getting looked at. Those are your internal controls. That's what you hope stops anything from happening. You know, it's like a whistleblower policy. I don't know that you have a whistleblower policy. We're gonna have one before it's all over. I guarantee it. You need that. You need to, and remember, a lot of this stuff is, yes, the entity, the town needs it, we need it, this board, future board need it. You need to be as transparent as you possibly can be. That's way you guys can walk down the street, you ain't gotta worry about anybody coming up to you and giving you a bunch of grief. Because you're transparent, and that's where we gotta get to. Anything else I can answer?
I applaud everything you just said, but in the spirit of transparency, you're not cheap, so please hustle.
Well, I would say, I'll say this about that.
And
We'll do the best we can.
you're good, so, hey, I'm not asking you to work for what less than your value, but we are a small town,
Totally get it.
we are
But-
tight.
But let me put, you bring up a good subject, Anthony, seriously. Let's put it in perspective. How much money did you spend on the 22 audit?
Oh, at this
Almost
point,
50.
how
No,
much?
no, not the 21, the
Oh,
22.
The 22.
way less, it was,
Nothing yet.
it was, yeah, well, yeah.
How much you spend on the 23?
No.
How about 24?
Nothing good.
You've not spent any money on any of that stuff. How much have you spent on people to update it and get the bookkeeping right in 22? Well, you got us now.
Mhm.
23, 24. It looks like, because all the money is coming at you at one time, it looks like, oh my God, that's a lot of money.
It's a bit overwhelming.
Well, the audit
Oh,
for
yeah.
2021 was
Yeah.
overwhelming.
But I tell you what, if you took, I don't know where we are, I have no idea, so I'm just gonna throw a number.
Right.
If you, let's say we're at $40,000, divide that by 4, where you at?
10 grand.
10 grand, that's all you spend for 1 year. Compared to what you're gonna spend on the audit, bookkeeping and all that, it's all proportionate and relevant. It just, it's a bad situation that you're in because you're getting hit with all the cash right now. But really, if you spread it out over the years, you would have spent that anyhow. Or you should have spent it. You should have spent it.
Fair enough.
So, honestly, we'll do the best we can possibly do. I get people ask me all the time, George, you must be in your busy season right now. And I'm like, it doesn't stop anymore. We're busy year round. We always have stuff going on. My first tax season was, I hate to say this, 1977 was my first tax season. And September and October, you could go to the islands for a month, never miss a heartbeat. Now it's hard to get time off to do anything. It's very busy, and especially in my part of the world now, the finance world, when you're dealing with your situations and things that can evolve out of those situations. So we gotta be really careful, really use due diligence to make sure that we provide you guys with the best product. This is over, I never wanna see you in this again. And that's my goal. Whether it be you guys or the next set of board members, never wanna see you in there. We'll just leave it at that.
That's our goal as well.
Fair enough.
That is our goal as well. Do you have anything, Ron?
Thank you, Mr. Luff.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I want to thank the town, especially your people. Jessica says nothing but great stuff about them. They've been very helpful, and they listen to her. That's probably the biggest hurdle of the whole thing, is Jessica's a smart lady, trust me. She wouldn't be on my staff, and she definitely wouldn't be running what she runs for me. She wasn't. She's a smart lady, and she said, these guys are doing a good job for you. And they're in a tough spot. Don't think they're not in a tough spot, because they're on the front line. So they're doing good. I want to thank you both. All right, nobody has anything else?
Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Love.
gonna get out of here and stop the clock for you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
So with that, we will move back up. Section 3, we're gonna go to the approval of minutes. First is the November 12th, 2025 executive session.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Donovan to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. How do we vote, Mr. Massey?
I don't believe I was at that one, so I'm gonna refuse.
You're gonna recuse. Mr. Massey
Mr.
recuse. No.
What about this one?
Yeah. Mr. Massey recuses himself. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
We have one pass. The next will be the December 8th, 2025 special town council meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Moran to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Nelson. Mr. Massey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Now you got a second by Donovan.
Donovan. Did I say Mr. Nelson? and Mr.
Yes.
All right, sorry. Second by Mr. Donovan. So first by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Donovan. Mr. Massey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
And then Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
All in favor, that it passes. December 8th, 2025, executive session. On the floor for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion first is by Mr. Moran. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Massey, how do you
Yes.
vote? Yes. All in favor, that approved. December 10th, 2025, Town Council meeting. The floor for a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Moran. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Donovan. Mr. Massey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
All in favor, that passes. Okay, next on the agenda, the police report. Chief, how are you, sir?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. You have my written report. I did just want to acknowledge my officers for a portion of that written report. During our departmental meeting, basically our last meeting of the year for the department, Lieutenant Thomas was awarded an exceptional performance award for his efforts throughout the year for the reaccreditation process. Corporal Tucker was awarded Officer of the Year for the department. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge them for their efforts for the year and for their diligent work that they provided for the department.
Fantastic, and we are very thankful for all of their efforts, because without them, we wouldn't have the security that we have in this town to this day, and you yourself, so.
So other than my written report, the police department really has no vocal report at this time.
Any questions?
Chief, how we looking on those trucks?
So the one EV vehicle has been sent to be outfitted. We were able to secure the money to have it outfitted. It is currently at, I believe it's Island Electronics, being outfitted for a full patrol vehicle. So it should be outfitted and returned very shortly. So we should be seeing that vehicle in service, in full service.
Fantastic.
And second, how we looking on the K-9 vehicle?
It just actually came back today from having the K9 insert completed. It will be sent out to have the graphics completed probably next week for a portion of the graphics, then taken to have the graphics finished the following week. So it should be just about complete within the next 2 to 3 weeks as well.
And when does she start K-9 training?
Well, that's going to be another issue. We're having issues. The initial Wilmington Police Department was going to provide us with the training. They reached out to us and basically said due to some retirements and short staffing at the beginning of the year, they're not going to be able to provide us with the training that they had promised. So we're scrambling right now to find alternatives. The next alternative would be unfortunately to wait until June when the next Delaware State Police Academy K9 Academy starts. I'm trying to avoid waiting that long because we've had a dog for over a year that's basically just been sitting. I'm ready to get that dog in training. So leaning out, I'm trying to get other recommendations to see what other courses of action we can take to get that dog certified sooner rather than later.
I know in the past, from my own personal experience, when my uncle was a town cop here, which we had a dog that we provided to the town, his training went outside of the state of Delaware. I mean, I don't know, there is a cost that we would have to look at if we choose to go that route. Have you looked into the Department of Corrections?
I'm glad you brought that to my attention, sir. We have basically started to look outside the state. We've had some other police departments from neighboring Maryland agencies that were kind of like, hey, we'll help you out, we'll get you done. I just have to weigh some pros and cons. The Department of Corrections, we can reach out to them, but ultimately everything and any decision I make, I'm gonna have to bring to Post. Post is gonna have to review it to make sure that it's gonna meet their certification levels for the K9. So anything that I take into consideration, I'm basically running through with Post at this point. Because if it's not, Delaware State Police, Wilmington, Newcastle County, those already approved state programs, I gotta kind of get their okay to run with it. So still doing a little homework with it. I definitely want to get this program finalized, get this dog trained, and get the handler and the K9 out and serviceable to the public as soon as I possibly can. So we're still working on it. We've had some hiccups and some bumps in the road. I'm trying to, bypass those and get this done. So If you have information for me or a contact with the Department of Corrections, I'd be absolutely willing to take that, reach out to them. At this point, I'm taking all options and all suggestions to see what we can do.
I'll reach out to see if my uncle still has his contacts from when he did it. And to see, I got some other friends that were in the department who has canine, to see where they know any place that we can get this
So I appreciate
up
it.
and running. I'll see what I can come up with for you. So we can get this up and running.
We appreciate it. I agree. It's been stalled. It's been over a year. I'm getting close to a year. And I want to get this canine out and give the public, you know, what they've been waiting for, so.
Is there only a limited number of departments here in the state that do that?
Oh, yeah. Like actually train the canines,
Yes.
you have three: the Delaware State Police, Newcastle County Police Department, and the
Okay.
Wilmington Police Department. It was advised to me that county no longer does it for free. It's like, hey, a brotherly service, they charge it.
Okay,
Wilmington was going to do it for free for us. It was actually the best feasible thing because they were willing to work with my schedule with her,
okay,
because they understand I'm a small department, I only have 3 officers. They weren't going to tie her down for that long and basically be flexible with the training.
right,
Where Delaware State Police, depending on the levels of training we go, can be anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. I've lost an officer for 8 to 12 weeks.
right,
Where Wilmington was willing to work with us, hey, we'll do a Monday through Thursday kind of thing, I still get my officer on the weekend.
okay,
Us losing them was a big setback,
Okay.
setback. I'm still kind of in the works of kind of begging. We'll see if my begging and pleading works, but, you know, that was our first choice because they were so willing to work with us and it was gonna be way more feasible for our scheduling, for us being a small department.
well, I wondered if Caroline County over Denton, they're,
Yep, so-
they're fairly close.
We
They've got
started
some
reaching
good
out to the
officers.
local Maryland agencies, Wycomico County, Anne Arundel County, things of that
Yeah.
nature, to try to say, hey, can you help us out? I know we've had correspondence with Anne Arundel County, and they're
Okay.
more than willing to bring us on, at no cost. Basically, she just has to go over and train with them.
Right,
It's a little further than I wanted us to go, but if it's gonna get this dog trained and get her out here, I'm willing to do it. I just have to have Post review their certifications to
Okay.
ensure that they share reciprocity between Maryland and Delaware on the certifications.
yeah, I didn't know if Caroline County had a program that you might be able to slip into because they're a lot closer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I'm completely open to suggestions and opinions on this, so I can get this done.
Okay,
Corporal Tucker and I have been working diligently to reach out to other departments. Once we found out that Wilmington had to withdraw from us, we've been on the phone constantly, trying to solve this problem. So,
is Mike Lewis still the sheriff over in Wycomico?
I believe he is, yeah.
That's a good dude.
He is a very good dude.
That's a good dude. I mean, I've got a couple friends, I'll see if I can reach out and find something out over in Caroline.
Yep, and again, what it boils down to, I was in contact with, retired Inspector Chuck Emery from Post, who runs their training and certification process. Kind of ran through the scenario with him and said, hey, I can't afford to wait till June to get this dog in with Delaware State Police.
Okay,
I'm trying to be creative, but I want to make sure it meets your guys' standards, so there's no issues that this dog is fully certified and ready to go.
fair enough, yeah.
No, and I appreciate council's opinions and suggestions. I see that you guys are just as antsy as I am to get this project up and running and get it actually serviceable to the public, so I appreciate the support. And I'm sure Corporal Tucker also appreciates the support.
Alright. I'm good, yeah.
You good? You have any more questions? Mr. Donovan, you have any questions for the chief?
No, sir.
No? Well, thank you, chief. I appreciate you, sir. Next, we will move on to the town manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have my written report. I'd like to touch on a few things. One is the grant program that we started with the PFAS. We're gonna need to do a study because we do have a well that has PFAS that is above the proposed MCL, which is the minimum containment limit, or maximum, containment limit for 26 for the EPA. So we will need to remediate or abandon that well. So what we have done now is a grant to cover the study on the remediation or the abandonment of the well, because depending on the type of chemical will dictate the type of remediation that we do. And then we will look at a cost of remediation versus just abandoning that well and drilling a new one. So that's one of the grants that we've got going. I have also touched a few times on, in previous reports, and I didn't put anything in this one, about a grant with the Chesapeake Watershed Foundation and with DENREC, state revolving funds, and that is grant funding to map our storm sewer system. We do not currently have that mapped, and we need to get it done. So that is a $35,000 grant. And it's, so we will use the Chesapeake funds as matching for the revolving fund grant. So it's no cost to the town at all, $17,500 from one grant and $17,500 from another grant. I did speak with Senator Wilson's assistant regarding changing the scope of the application for the town hall to include renovations to the existing building, and we have received approval on that amendment. Also, I spoke with DTI, who sent me to Delgis, about the email accounts, and it's not a service that either one of them offer. I did look into Google Workspace. The cost for Google Workspace is the same as a Microsoft email box, so we wouldn't be saving any money by going with Google Workspace. I mean, you can do a free Gmail account, but Google Workspace allows us to use our domain, so they would still have a townofgreenwood.us email versus just a Gmail account. And I did speak with other municipalities about the accessory structures, and I did put a layout of the responses in my report there for you. It seems like the majority of them either say if it fits within the setbacks, it can be there, or there's a maximum lot coverage.
Brandon, with the Google Workspace, what's the cost?
I believe it's $10 a month, or it's just under $10 a month per user, which
Okay,
is, like I said, the same as the Microsoft.
But the Google allows us to use the Greenwood.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Microsoft will also, that will go through our IT vendor, just like the staff emails and just like your emails do. And that allows us a little bit more control over the emails that are in there and being able to put our hands on them. You know, if a board member leaves and that email is abandoned, we still have the history for it if we use the Microsoft accounts.
So I mean, I don't know if we should wait for this, for the emails from board members, because I was not there for that meeting to talk about the rest of it, what we should do with that email. I mean, now we have the price, and then when we get to this next, that point there, then we can go continue that conversation on what we decide with the emails from board members from there.
okay. The grant with the PFAS, is there, what's the time on response? Did they, is it part of the paperwork?
We have already submitted the application for the PFAS grant. Now, you will be having a resolution for the other two grants at the February meeting for, to move forward with those, and that is a requirement for those applications. I believe that the PFAS grant will be awarded in March.
Okay. All right. And then RFP, a company to come do the remediation, which will be some specialty company most likely.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, that's much further
Depending
down
on
the
what,
road.
yeah,
Right.
depending on after the survey and what we
Yeah.
actually need to be done, whether it be
Right.
a new well or remediation, that's the first step in the process
Yes.
of figuring that out. From there,
Yes.
we decide that, and that will all be covered from the grant that we're going through now.
Yes.
Okay.
The other question, the QuickBooks, you're making changes to it. Can it, I'm not super familiar with that platform, can it create a balance sheet? Like a true, of course, I'm thinking old school Excel in my mind.
Yes.
Okay,
But the biggest issue we run into though with that is that we run a modified accrual. So we kind of report on a cash basis, but we also kind of report on an accrual basis. And
okay,
QuickBooks doesn't allow for that. So then it requires manipulation.
okay. Yeah, what I'm trying to think of is eventually get council to, what I'm thinking of the old school traditional balance sheet. You see every account and as the months go by through the fiscal year, you see what's been going in and out.
Well, we can do
With the
that.
understanding that sometimes, hey, remember, that says 50,000, but a $5,000 check went out this
Right.
week, so it may be a little, inaccurate for that reason alone.
And we can do that with the P and L as well, and I've started entering the budget in so that we can compare it as well to the budget each
Okay.
month. And when I give you the P and L, it's based on a 30-day period. So like this recent one that you have is, I believe, December 8th or December 10th through January 8th.
Okay,
So you see everything that's happened in that 30-day
Yeah.
window. And I can give you a second one that shows the entire year to date as well, but I mean, it didn't make sense right now because the year started January 1st.
right,
So,
right.
yeah, I mean, it is my goal to get to better reporting for everyone and a better understanding of how what's going on each month is relating to the budget. It's just, it's taking a lot of work to
No.
get to that point.
Understood, it's just a goal to move forward, and
Yeah.
Mr. Luff brought it up, that we know what's in the bank accounts, okay, that's the easy
Right.
part. But actually seeing that throughout the year, it does make it a lot easier to talk about the budget, what the budget for,
Right,
and what's projected. If something is snuck up on us, we're not blindsided like we have been continually.
right.
All right, thank you.
And I think that's actually one of Love's, one of his, what he plans on doing is to help us out with that exact.
I know, but it's limitations of software, like.
Right, which
It's like
software do you use, which one do you?
Yeah, what can QuickBooks do, and I have a thing for this program called Edmunds, but that's in my dreams right now.
I was gonna say, that kind
Is
of
that
goes
what-
back to the
yeah.
tax bills and the water bills as well. you
Right.
know.
That thing is
Correct.
great.
QuickBooks is great for a small business. We are not a business.
Right.
It is
Right,
very cumbersome to use, to do, like I'm trying to do the tax bills now, and it's not an easy process. And it's very time consuming. Carolyn and I actually worked on it more tonight before the meeting. And the water bills are sent out by a third-party vendor. So, if we were to mail them in-house, we could say with certainty, all of these bills went out. We can't say with certainty what that third party has sent out. We know what we sent to them, but did it all go out from them? We can't say.
until somebody comes in and
Here's
says,
the
what's
question
this?
with your water bills. We used to send them out in here, where you printed everybody's bill out and you mailed them out from here.
Right,
Granted, when you put them in the mailbox, they're going all the way up to Wilmington before they come
Right.
back here because they done away with it. How much would we save versus for us to reprint them? Of course, obviously, the stamps would be an issue, we have to stamp them, versus having this party out. So the bills are getting out the way the people want them to show up on the first, so they have 29 days to pay them. As of right now, whenever they show up in their mailbox, they could have 15 days, they could have 5 days. If they don't get here by the end of the month, then they're gonna get hit a late fee, which is not cool.
right. And that is something that I plan to look at. I haven't had an opportunity to, compare what we're paying now to what it would cost us to do it in-house. Because that is going to be time consuming to, fold each one of these bills, stuff them in the envelopes, glue the envelope, put the stamp on, and, it's a very manual process.
We have a local business owner who, when he submits his bills, he takes them right to the post office, they scan them and put the postage right there, and they just put them in the P.O. boxes.
Right,
Like right there. That shit ain't gotta go to Wilmington, it ain't gotta go nowhere, they do it right there.
yeah,
It would probably be worth getting in touch with the postmaster and seeing if he'd be willing to help us out, maybe do something like that. Cause then it doesn't have to go to Wilmington, we can just print
Well,
them out.
that's for the PO box. It's different for a PO box than it is for a mailbox.
Well, that's understandable, there's, the majority of the town is P.O. boxes.
And actually, most people got
Mailbox.
mailboxes now, cause.
And either way, you're still running a conflict of, if we're trying to solve the issue of people getting them immediately, by doing that, you're still gonna be in between both of them. You're still gonna get people getting them late, and you're still gonna get people getting them on time. We need to find a way that
The only-
everything's done
The
on
only
time.
truly way for them to get it on time is electronically.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
But
But then
90%
not
of
everybody
the
has
people
Not
here,
everybody does that.
Yeah.
they don't have
We
them.
don't have electronic ways of doing it.
Could we set up an option
I mean,
for
anybody
electronic?
can go online and look at their water bill.
but can we
with your
mail
camera.
But not,
Probably, I mean, we don't, I don't know exactly how to do
Let's say
that.
there's
And
something-
I also wanna say that I've been here for 4.5 years or so now, and we have not charged late charges for people's water bills since I've been here. It's my understanding that that was something that stopped, I don't know if it was because of COVID or, that's what I was told, that it was because of COVID, that they weren't charging any late charges on water bills.
And that's something else I would like to address as well.
It sounds like the water bill thing is gonna take a little bit more time to talk about.
I think there needs to be more,
Its own
yeah.
thing.
Well, we can put that to a later time, figure out the best way and avenue to get those bills up.
Yeah.
In the correct time to get all that done, okay.
Do you have, an estimate on the tax bill? Like as to when you think you'd be able to get them out to everybody?
I'm hoping to have them out by the end of this week. And I mean, if anybody calls, like we had a resident call today and say that she wanted to come pick her tax bill up. So I went through the spreadsheet and found her information and entered the tax bill and printed it out. So if someone needs it immediately, I can go through and generate that bill immediately. Or if they want to call and ask what their taxes are going to be, I can give them that from the spreadsheet. that we
Okay,
generate.
so obviously we're being watched, so if somebody needs it immediately, wants it immediately, they can contact you
Yeah.
or Miss Carolyn here at Town Hall
Mhm.
and come on in, you guys get them squared out, get a printout for them, and then they can take it from there.
Yes.
Okay?
And there's a lot of misconception going out there. Can you say what the people are paying in their taxes, dollar amount?
I mean, I can't tell you, I will say that there are some that have gone up, over 100%. There are some that have gone down. So it really depends on each individual's,
County assessment.
yeah,
The county assessments have
Yeah.
changed the fluctuation between
Yeah.
what people are paying and what they're not paying.
yeah.
When did the county notify, when did you get the information from the county?
So I requested it again, I believe in November, October or November,
Okay,
for their assessments.
when did it hit here?
I thought it was supposed to be around July or
It
something.
was supposed to, that's what it was supposed to be.
July.
So we have to request it from them, they don't just send it out arbitrarily. So I requested it and they responded within a few days.
Okay,
They emailed a spreadsheet with all of the information.
Yeah, 'cause there has, as Maria said, there has been a lot of misconception about the taxes, that everybody's going up the same amount. It varies between every single
Well,
resident.
it was an average of 40% across the board.
Yeah.
But if you
And
look
that's-
at the
that's
big
what-
picture,
That's what was in the notes, it said 40.6% was the average.
It's a
Because-
40.6% increase over the revenue neutral rate,
Correct.
yes.
That's what I'm saying.
So that doesn't mean that everybody
Everybody's
increased
taxes are going up by
40%.
40%.
No, that was the average across the board from revenue neutral.
No.
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 That is
Okay.
just the difference between 45 cents and 32 cents. So based on your assessment, at 32 cents, you still may have gone up. And I can look at that. There's been a couple properties that I've looked at. Even if we did the revenue neutral rate, there are properties that still would have increased.
Because the values went up.
Correct.
Yeah.
So although overall, we were revenue neutral, which that just means that we don't collect any more in taxes, there were still properties that were gonna go up and still properties that were gonna go down. It just depends on the assessment.
And then we just tacked in those another 13 cents on top of revenue neutral.
Correct.
And this was based on the budget.
Yes,
To make the budget neutral again.
yes, to balance the
To
budget.
balance the budget again.
and you're still paying less than what your neighboring towns are.
I feel like a lot of people are thinking it's 40% more than what they paid in taxes last year.
And that's
That's not the case.
That's not the
No.
case.
Not the case at all, right, right. Do you have anything, any other questions, do you have anything else? Ms.
No,
Slater?
that was all I
No,
had.
is it? Any questions for Ms. Slater, anybody else? No?
Or if the tax bills come out late, being there's been a prolonged time getting them out, do we need to extend the due date so
So-
nobody's being penalized, they have time to gather their funds to pay
The
them?
charter says that the tax bills are due 60 days after they're mailed. So if it was mailed January 1st, it's 60 days from January 1st. If it's mailed January 15th, it's 60 days from January 15th.
Got it, that way there's clarification, so they can all see it on social media, they see it, they hear it, they know they have 60 days from the time they receive that bill.
Right.
So if they receive that bill tomorrow, they have 60 days. You have 2 months to pay that bill.
Hey man, what'd this table ever do to you?
I'm just making it known, I'm tired of seeing the bad social media posts about the tax bills and incorrect information being put out there.
I'm in agreement with you on that.
So you
as
have
well.
2 months to pay the bill, period,
From when you get it,
from the time you get it.
not from January first. So, that is clear now. Okay, good to know.
Question I did have, there was an item on your, report about the accessory structures. I don't know if that warrants any additional, action by council or not, but she brought that up, I know last meeting there was a question about that. So I just wanted to make sure if there's anything further we need to do on that item.
I think we pushed that.
That was,
That's the one allowed, no, it's not on here.
it's not on here, but it was,
It's on the manager's report.
she made the report, but last month I made about a motion to, about if it fits for them to look into it, and Jamie was gonna look into it, cause AJ agreed with it, saying, you know, if it fit in your setbacks or everything else, it met up what our setbacks were, it should be allowed, and then Jamie said he was gonna do some more research on it to see if it
Well,
was.
we're gonna, and that's what the staff was doing, they were looking at what the neighboring towns are doing. So
And
that's
as they see that the big city of Milford and Bridgeville's pretty much, if it meets your setbacks and your requirements, it fits, and then the county's just
I think
40% lot coverage.
There's not uniformity in the county with the municipalities in the county. Some of them are, how far, you know, how far are you from the setbacks? And I know that Rhiannon put in here that as long as it fits in the setbacks and its size limit, that's true, but it's a little bit, there is a little caveat to that. I know at the county level, for example, if I have a shed that's under 600 square feet, it can be closer to the setback line than a pole building that's 2,000 square feet. So there are some differing rules depending on size. And, you know, I see here where we have like the maximum lot coverage, that's a different requirement. Somebody could say, hey, I'm gonna put a massive house, build almost all the way to the setbacks, and I'm gonna put a large accessory structure to go with it. And you could have the entirety of the building envelope.
As long as it fits
Well,
within the
structures.
setbacks, yeah.
Milford, for example, has a maximum lot coverage requirement to restrict that. Now, of course, the setback areas are included in the county, so there is some areas there that.
In the lot coverage itself.
Yeah, and that's kind of your buffer area, but they're basically saying, yeah, you can't use the entire building envelope to put structures. So I just wanted to point that out, because that was I know Mr. Miranda brought that up, Mr. Massey brought it up last meeting. And, yeah, if there's any follow-up, certainly willing to do it, but I know it was brought up last meeting, it was on the manager's report. It's not a specific agenda item, but it is something in the report, so if there's follow-up that we need to do on it, we could do that, but
Well, I
if
think
not,
we
that's
need-
fine too.
We're gonna need some follow-up.
We are
because
gonna need follow-up on it.
My philosophy is if you have the space and you are within the setbacks that we already have in place, then you should be able to build
I
a
see
building that you need.
I think it
I
should
have a
still be-
decent sized lot. I'm not gonna cover the whole thing, but if I wanna build a 30 by 40 building and it meets the 12-foot setback from my property line, the 25-foot from the alley, and 25-foot from the road, I should be allowed to put that building.
But that's where that lot coverage comes in, that you need to take in compensation, because you don't wanna take the lot and then just fill it with a structure.
Well, it's not gonna fit, I still have, my lot's 2
Yeah,
lots.
but what it's saying with the ordinances, you need to make sure that in there is with that coverage, with the lot coverage. You don't, cause somebody, if you just say all you gotta do is follow those parameters of that, then you just fill your whole lot with a building.
Here's perhaps what I could do, is that I also don't wanna run too far afoul, I mean, this was
Yeah.
in the manager's report, so it does naturally flow from it, but, I can work on, look at the code more closely now with the information in this later's provided, and come back at our next meeting or our future meeting, with some options that perhaps council could look at, and if there's an inclination to have an ordinance drafted, to that effect, you know, we could get there, but I think we could have a broader discussion at that time.
You think like March? Did that give you enough time?
Yeah, I mean, March, or whenever council wanted to do it, March would be fine.
Okay.
February,
I mean,
yeah.
like, at this point, your property is your property, and as long as it's not affecting your neighbors, or detrimental to the sewer system or anything like that, like, who are we?
I can tell you,
You know what I
pole building's
mean?
not gonna be detrimental to the sewer system.
Okay, we instructed Mr. Trout what to do, and we'll look at it at a later time. In February, if you would like.
In addition to what Mr. Sharp just said about the caveats that go with these, I will say that accessory dwelling units are completely different standards from just an accessory structure. So I don't know if you want to look at both of those, the structures and the dwelling units.
I think just the structures is what we're more looking at, not a dwelling, not a dwelling unit where individuals are staying, and we're more talking about pole buildings or garages. We're not speaking about a residential place where sewer or electric, or
Right.
maybe not particularly electric, but sewer needs to be ran into. I think we're more just looking at a secondary unit, not a resident, a place where people can live.
I can tell you, if there's sewer involved, the county's gonna prove it.
Well, given what Mrs. Slater's found, I'll look at it a little more closely and report back, and then we can see if there's a direction on perhaps doing a zoning ordinance update.
Okay,
We'll try for February, but it might be March.
okay. Okay, anything else on the town manager's report? No? Okay. Next, we will move to the old business. First order of business for that would be the ordinance of A1, allowable use in highway commercial zoning.
So if I may, jump in on this one, there had been an ordinance update, a zoning code update in November of '24 that was approved by council, and it provided for some updates to the permitted uses in the highway commercial district. When you go and look at the code, it's basically just several highlighted sections. It was recommended for approval by the commission, and it was approved by council, but I saw no record of where it had been properly introduced as an ordinance, that there were public hearings on it, and we flagged it. This was not meetings I was at. It was flagged as this is probably not done the right way. You may recall that we had a discussion about that in November. I drafted an ordinance that we didn't get on the agenda for December. But what we've done is the draft ordinance A24 that's in your packet goes through and includes some additional permitted uses in the HC district, consistent with what that list generated. But I also did a comparison with, because there were some things that were permissible in the DC but not in the HC. So kind of took a spreadsheet and compared the two, and there's some overlapping terms. It was a real mess, particularly when you looked at what had been added in '24. So what I've prepared is this ordinance, which was, I think, based upon what council had directed me to prepare. The process is not for you to vote on this evening. What it would happen, as the zoning code surmises, is that we would, if council member wanted to introduce this as an ordinance, we would then have a public hearing before the planning commission. They would then render a recommendation. Then we would have a public hearing before council. Hopefully by that point in time, you would have heard the recommendation from the planning commission. And then there would be a vote as to whether to adopt or not to adopt the ordinance. But I do believe we need to proceed in the right course of action to make sure this is done the correct way, because the record did not show that it had been.
What's the fastest we can get this in front of the planning commission, do you think?
I think Ms. Slater and I were looking, if you need a 15-day publishing notice requirement for both the commission and for you all,
Okay.
I don't know how quickly the commission can meet, I don't know their availability, but in theory, it could come back before you for the February meeting.
So if we could get something maybe with them by the end of the month, we could probably,
That may be ambitious, but.
what about first week of February, Ms. Slater, would that be a possibility?
So the 15-day posting requirement, we would need it to be in the paper by the 19th for the planning commission to hear it on the 30th.
And the 19th is MLK Day, so I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
so, I don't know if the paper will run that Monday or not, but if we make a decision to do it, put it on there for then, but they already have a meeting scheduled for the 27th, right, Carolyn?
Planning Commission's 29th.
Oh, the 29th,
I
okay,
haven't heard back from all
okay. But we cannot, there's no way we can get it on the 29th.
So you would think probably like the first week of February would probably be,
Yeah, that's gonna be the first, just
Okay.
because of the deadline requirements now to get things in the newspaper.
okay,
It's not, you know, it used to be, you could put it in on Friday morning for Sunday, and now you've gotta have it in like Wednesday for Monday. So it's,
print deadlines and all
yeah,
that.
the
okay.
deadlines are pretty far out for when we can get it in.
My
So-
suggestion would be first off to see if Ms. Slater could contact the commission to see if their availability for a meeting before council's regular meeting in February. With the idea that if possible, that could be heard at that time, that you could have a kind of this interim commission meeting, could be advertised. The council could have it very shortly thereafter. We would advertise also for the council meeting, probably at the same publishing, the same day they advertise for the other one, you can advertise for the council. It just would show a different date. And hopefully at that meeting, you would have a recommendation from the commission as to whether to, recommending approval or not. But they would have had their hearing. Given that there's been the commission had already recommended approval of something very similar last year.
Shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, I don't, but certainly we have to go through the right process.
Right.
You don't know what'll come up with a public hearing, those things. So my suggestion would be that we shoot to have this on for February, and then if it has to be later, it's later, but that will depend on publishing and commission's availability.
That sounds like a plan.
Are there any questions about? Mike, then I think what we would need is a council member to introduce this ordinance so that we can then move forward with that process.
I make a motion, we introduce ordinance A 24.
Second,
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Donovan to introduce the ordinance A 24, second by Mr. Nelson. Any amendments or changes to that motion? No? Mr. Massey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
All in favor, the motion passes. Fantastic. Next one is the emails for board members.
We kinda got that answer.
We kinda got some bullshit, so I just wanna say one thing, cause I wasn't here before. I'm just trying to figure out a way to save the town money, I know it's $10 a time, but I don't understand why we can't just use a Gmail account, cause what my confusion is, I guess generally here speaking is, previously there's never needed to be emails for board members. The communication was done through text messages or phone calls.
Well,
I'm gonna jump in there. You don't wanna do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
can I answer?
No, that's fine, I wasn't here for the other meeting, so I'm just trying to interject here, so
FOIA.
Yep.
so can we just use a regular Gmail account?
You could, so that would be the cheap option to carry through.
If we just
But
couldn't use any
with
information.
instructions that,
Not
hey,
any-
this account, but that account is, please don't shop on Amazon and things like that with it.
That's what I
But
hope
that is
board
what
members
it's
wouldn't
for.
do,
To
to
save money, that is an option.
I would imagine so, but, and what Ms. Slater was bringing up is the fact that the other, and Dan, you can back me up on that, what she was bringing up with the extra $10 a month that we would pay per account, we have access to that account if they leave, if they quit,
the
if they
back.
die.
Okay,
We have a backup of all the information that was
and we
communicated
can
back to us.
rotate those accounts for anybody.
correct,
So if one board member needs, so we would need
Yes.
essentially 10
Yes.
additional,
and I think I have it in there, it's like $640 a year
okay.
for 10 accounts.
Well, I would think that we would just use our own server from what you're saying, it's to save money through, the Gmail, the regular Google, then I would rather use our server for more backup.
Right.
That's just my assumption there. Okay, I wasn't there for that other meeting,
And
so
the text messages were, we would like to get away from that. Carolyn uses her personal cell phone
Yeah.
for that, and
Right,
it's not fair to ask your employee to use their personal phone to do something like that, first of all.
It also could lead to a bunch of complications that do not need to arise.
Right. I'm just saying it's been done forever before.
I agree with Mr. Mathis.
Jamie Sharp's like, I don't wanna deal with that anymore, this morning stuff, I'm done.
It's a separation of
Yes.
volunteer professionalism and a personal life.
Yep.
If something were to happen, then she loses that piece of her personal life to a subpoena, to a warrant,
Yep.
to FOIA request, like, it leaves her open to liability.
I understand.
Well,
I
it's
understand.
not just that with your employee, but the individual commission members and board
Yes.
members. They should expect that same level of separation
Yes.
between public duties,
Yeah.
as do you.
Yep.
From your public duty to your private. And that's a way to have, for the town's perspective, to be able to archive those communications in a manner that is required.
That's on our server, it's all backed up by us.
That's why we have it with you all, and it should be done at the same.
It's CYA.
Understood.
It's
Yeah.
CYA.
Well, yeah,
What's the right way to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
so it's just kind of come up with a cost-effective
Okay,
mechanism for the town.
okay.
So I don't know,
don't know
I
if
think
there'll
you're
be
gonna
more
bring
discussion.
that back, is what I recall.
Yeah, I just, because we were speaking about it
But I mean, if you felt that what you've been provided by Ms. Slater, you're comfortable with for her pursuing, you.
I make a motion that she proceeds with the $10 more, whatever it is.
For our
the-
server or
For our
the-
server, to go through Jason,
Okay, so,
Quick question though, Mayor and Council, do we have to amend the budget for this? Cause it wasn't,
We've got budget amendments that are gonna have to happen anyway, I can just lump it into those.
okay,
and where would it come from?
that's, actually Mike's getting more,
in detail.
I'd have to look at the budget to see, I mean, right now, I can't say that, there's increased revenue in a certain line that we could use, because there isn't any increased revenue at this point. So we'll have to cut a line back.
can we
Can we,
discuss that then in the February meeting?
Yeah.
Just because I think that might be a wise thing to do.
That way you got some hard numbers in front of you.
Yeah.
It
And
gives you
if you're
time.
looking at a budget amendment, that may be a time to.
For the budget amendment, but that's just for the
Mind
budget
reading at
amendment
the end of
itself.
the table.
withdraw the motion?
Yeah,
Well, that's just for the budget amendment, we
Just
still.
withdraw it all until next month and do it. Cause that way you'll have the numbers, so you know where it's coming from and
Yeah.
how much it's gonna be, so you just wait and do it next month. And make your motion, cause you have all the facts in front of you.
Ms. Slater, would you be able to give us a presentation on everything next month? Give you time to get everything together, and then we can make a motion and follow through with it from that point?
Yep.
What do you think, Mr. Sharp?
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I would recommend that try to have it be able to vote on that at the next meeting, so that can, the
Okay.
sooner we can get that moving, the better. I think.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
That's February.
All
Okay.
three of these are mine.
Alright, next one is the FOIA policy.
That's me. I am very far along, but here's where I'm at. I've wrote out the basis, and Mr. Sharp, you'd be proud, I just pulled down the one that the AD's office has, but I also did kind of an addendum for Greenwood itself, since you can have little caveats for your town or your own, entity. The part that I am still writing out is, we often respond in email back. I think it's more professional that we respond back on, it can be scanned and sent via email, but via town letterhead. And so what I've been writing is, there's a series of basically responses. There's a straightforward, hey, your FOIA request has come in, you repeat the FOIA, what they requested back to them, please see attached. And it's actually on letter. So, but there's variations of that, because we charge now, if it's a voluminous request, that is something that the person needs to be notified. Here's what the cost is, how would you like to proceed? Like Mr. Moran, if you had a 1,000 page document, do you want all 1,000 pages because we estimated it'll cost X? Or do you want to amend it? And then you respond, no, I want it, and then they can, it lets them proceed. So that's the part I am not totally done with, where it got me, so I apologize, but I should be ready by February.
Is that I believe I communicated with you, the DOJ has their policy manual for FOIA coordinators, and it's from October 25. Is that the one you're working on?
Yes, that is the
I
one.
brought a copy here in case you needed or if council wanted to see it.
Well, I got on the interwebs and pulled that down immediately.
So the DOJ does this, policy manual, they update, I think, every other year. So, and it's usually in the fall, and it's quite helpful. And I know a couple years ago, I think the town adopted it. This would have been maybe 22, I think. Mr. Donovan, I think, was on council at that time, as I recall. So there is a, manual there, but of course, they've updated this, there's been some changes statutorily since that time, and probably some case law as well. But, we get a fair amount of FOIA requests. I know that because there's times where there's questions come to me about, is this a proper one to respond to, or how, there's occasionally you get things that perhaps should be redacted. Obviously, we try to, provide information as we can, but there are times where it's, just not appropriate to respond with the documents. So that does take some time, and I know Ms. Slater's gotten, a fair amount of those, including some of late. I think one thing that council should probably really look at, and this is where your review, Mr. Nelson, would be helpful, is, the fees to charge. I know that there's a provision about the time of the lowest hourly employee, I think is the rate that.
Yes.
That's what I read up on too, yeah.
And certainly that's what the town should do. One of the things to always consider though is, this has a town of, 2 administrative employees, so it does take up a fair amount of their time. Sometimes it's very easy, just a simple answer. Some of them do require more in-depth pulling and culling of records. And I think I don't want to speak for Ms. Slater or Ms. Chisenhall, but my guess is that one of the challenges there is you get a request, we're dealing with the public, so sometimes the requests are very detailed, very easily understood, sometimes they're a little more ambiguous. And they've got to deal with all of that comes in. Trying to determine how much time is it going to take to adequately respond to this sometimes can be difficult because you may have to go down a rabbit hole, you may have to get IT involved, we have to contact me. There's those things that come in as consideration. So when you do that discussion next month, I think that should be taken into consideration. Certainly want to be open to the public so that they have a right to the information, but also not, over stressing our staff that are limited as they are.
I mean, even a note in there stating that if it takes over an hour, you will be charged subsequent or not, just from any response that's given, the initial response.
And that's something that should be provided to the requester.
Correct, from the very
upfront,
beginning.
So they can make a determination.
Not saying that you will be charged this,
No,
but
it's like
if it
if
goes
it's something
over.
that takes like 4 or 5 pages and they can knock it out in 20 minutes, okay.
Nothing.
Well, yeah,
You're fine.
yeah.
But if it's like 2 days worth of work.
But that response needs to be it needs to be to everybody.
Correct.
But that's what I'm writing up, the estimate back, I answered FOIA requests for years at the department, and we did the estimate the best we could, and if we fell short, then we fell short. It wasn't about making money.
No. it shouldn't.
I know that, it was, but there were some requests
It's
for
just-
payrolls that I shot short, and it was like, well, I told them 2 hours, and 4 hours later, here I am, but that's what the estimate was, I thought it'd go faster.
And I'm sure staff also gets requests that are ones that are very easy to respond to. Here it is, it's right on the website, here's, I'll pull it for you, but in the future, if you're looking for.
I believe what I have written is a half hour or more, it starts and then goes by quarter hour,
Okay.
is what it is, so a half hour is a very large.
Yeah.
Most basic requests are gonna be answered well within that time
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
So, no, charge unless it's the paper, like if it's a lot of paper, but it's fast to print it out, okay, hey, 15 cents a page,
Yeah, and that also is one where, maybe asking if the requester would prefer a.
Electronic, then there's no don't worry, Jamie.
Yeah,
I know.
so I'm sure you're on it, but
It won't be lawyery, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
That's fine. Lawyers lawyers complicate
Oh, sure.
You got that right.
No, thanks for the feedback, and like I said, it's just those letters, when you're trying to write a boilerplate language and you're trying to capture every scenario, you're like, wait a minute, you know, and then you come back to it. So a few of the more complicated ones is what I was struggling with, trying to get them down. So then everybody can review, what do you like, what you don't like, and then you get your criticisms on them.
Yeah, and I know staff does the best job they can with
Yes.
trying to get back to people. It is sometimes difficult because the timelines that you have to respond are very short. And if they've got a big project or somebody's on vacation, you know, that sometimes really can jam them up. And being able to give because you want to give responses to people as quickly as you can with the information you can. So I look forward to seeing what you generate.
It's only like 5 pages, you know, and then all the letters. Something like that.
Okay, anything else on that one? No? We moved the employee vacation to after the executive session, so we will skip that. New business, we've obviously went all over Luff and Associates update. So that is completed. We'll move to B, which is CD maturity. I received an application from Steve from Community Bank. And I want to make council aware, and we can go with the process of this. The CD that we had through Community Bank it's come to fruition. We have now $140,000, $140,957.20. It is now up to our option from here moving forward to cash that out or refinance it into another CD. For either a 6-month term or a 12-month term, the rate is 3.85%. I did the math, it's like $300 and something every 6 months, so you're not looking at a whole bunch of money. So I need council's decision, we need to discuss this on what we wanna do, with this amount of money. Again, it's $140,857, I think is what I said. No, 957, $140,957.
I consider, well, we got the well stuff going on now. You know what I mean?
Well, the well stuff is covered.
That's covered under grants and, you know, all that kind of, but like, is it gonna kill us to like reinvest it even for the little bit? Or Mr. Luff was just here, we're still reconciling numbers, we know what's in the bank, are we hard up for cash? Do we really need that money, or should we just go ahead and reinvest it? Like do we really need it?
Is it the money worth the, it's up to
Well, my take is, I actually think we should do the radical thing, or consider it that, is cash it. Because we had a bill come in that we were not aware of, an old loan, and it was a $28,000 payment that, Councilman Moran, didn't you say that all loans were allegedly paid off at one point?
There was 2 loans that
Okay.
Miss Todd said that we had still had an outstanding balance on,
Okay,
that we were able to pay off. Where she took the money from, I cannot answer that. But
Okay.
those 2 loans were paid in full. We paid
Okay.
them off, so we no longer have those 2 debts.
Well, we
Of
have,
those 2 loans, which loans they were, I don't remember.
that's fine, that's fine.
we did receive a DENREC bill. We still owe 400, how much, $350,000. We got a bill for $29,000. Something was around 29.
It's $24,000, and we will have to pay it again in August.
Every 6 months we owe
What
that.
was the bill for?
It's for a
2001.
loan from, I think, 2009. I'll have to get the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So
lot, yeah,
it's a third loan that was out there. The other 2 loans were paid off.
okay.
But this is the third one that's out there, and I need to speak with Denver to find out if there's anything else out there that we're not aware
And
of.
that's what I'm
Because
worried
it caught
about.
me completely off guard when they sent the invoice.
If that's the case, after you do some investigating into it, then I would be in agreement that, considering we just raised taxes, considering we're trying to figure out our budget, considering all this stuff, then my opinion would be pull that money and just pay that bill. You know what I mean? Use it to cover these unforeseen expenses. But hey, on just one person.
Just the one bill, not the full amount.
Just
alone.
the one bill, and then the rest of it go into,
For any other unforeseen
yes,
bills that we
yes.
then have arise.
Well, hold on, what about covering, good idea, but covering the, I know it's next month, but the emails, there could be other little expenses.
That would be the other thing too, that money would help cover the email accounts, you could set that up in a side account, it would pay the email accounts for like 5 years out, you know what I mean, or whatever, and then that's money we didn't know we had, you know what I mean, it covers that expense, we don't have to make a line budget or an amendment for it.
I think we need the
For a
money.
while.
What do you guys
I
think?
think pulling the money would be the best option at this
Well,
point.
I think it's, you know, she's already talking about we're gonna have to amend the budget, and if we have to amend that budget, where's that money coming from? So I'm for cashing out that CD.
That sounds like we're all in agreement though.
If I may, I am for cashing it out as well and using it for an increase in revenue for the current year. However, I would like to see it earmarked, quite a bit of it earmarked, because, you know, we have grants to cover this study, but when it comes to remediation, we're gonna have to get loans and they are matching grants, and we need to have money out there set aside that we can pay for those funds, because this is not going to be cheap. Even if we abandon the well and drill a new one, it's still not going to be cheap.
So we pulled the cash, we earmark portions of it, can you get us a rough of how you would like this earmarked? We'll discuss it, and then we can take it from there, that'll handle the emails, that'll leave this money toward the
We can
remediation.
pay that one other bill.
We'll be able to pay, that other bill will be paid off, pay that off, and then whatever's left will be earmarked for other expenses that we need.
I'm in agreement, I just have to let Steve know tomorrow, cause I already had him push it back a week, cause he said he needed an answer last week, I said, I can't answer this.
I would
so.
make a motion to cash the CD in, pay that bill to Denrec, and earmark the rest of the money for future expenses, email, remediation, et cetera.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Massey, do I have a second?
Second,
Second by Mr. Nelson, do I have any amendments or changes to that motion? Silence means no. So, Mr. Massey, you vote
Yes.
yes, Mr. Nelson?
yes,
I vote yes, Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
It's all in favor, so we will cash out that CD. I will let Steve know tomorrow that we will do that. All right, last item on the new business is appointment to Board of Elections. So, we need one more individual for the election, for the appointment for the Board of Elections.
Miss Carolyn, did Malaya get a hold of you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, she's willing to do it, she said she's
Okay.
gonna have Roger take her some information.
Malaya Russ, Mr. Leon's daughter, she said she's free that weekend, she's.
This Saturday, yeah.
Yes, she's free. No,
Okay.
she's free.
Okay.
I asked her, she said she's free, she'd be more than happy to help us out.
Okay, so you would like to make a motion to appoint?
I would like to make a motion to appoint Malaya Russ to the Board of Elections.
Second.
So I have a motion by Mr. Massey to appoint Malaya Russ to the Board of Elections, second by Mr. Donovan. Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Massey, how do you
Yes.
vote? All in favor? She is now appointed. Fantastic. That concludes the new business section. We will now go to council members' comments.
what about, employee vacation?
We'll move that to
Oh,
after
never mind.
the executive session.
Well, I had a bunch of people ask me about the water bill, and we've got that pretty much addressed this evening. Appreciate that. Taxes, bill being sent out, we've addressed that, and it looks like we're all on page with trying to figure out a better way to get the water bill out at some point, and maybe save us some headache on that one, so. Other than that, I'd like to see everybody, as many people come out and vote Saturday. I don't really care which way you vote, but you need to vote your conscience one way or the other. Support your town, seriously.
No comment at this time?
I do have a comment, so I want to have everybody aware that obviously tomorrow is Meet the Candidates. If you are unable to attend, the way it's gonna be ran, it's gonna be a mediator, you're gonna have, if you come to the meeting, you're gonna write down what questions you have for any individual that is running for council, which will be read to that person. If you cannot make the meeting and would still like your questions to be read, you can come to town hall. You have to write your question down, who it's directed to. and your name and address on that card itself, and we will make sure that it gets read for those, incumbents, for the individuals to answer. That way, we make sure that anybody who cannot make that meeting can still be able to get their questions out to the people that are running for council itself.
Now, who's the mediator for that? Is there a mediator for that?
I'm gonna be the mediator for that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not running, I have to run like a regular meeting anyway, from what I understand, since it's written like an agenda, I have to run like a regular meeting, so
Yeah, you'll have to open.
I'll have to open and close it, and then all I'm gonna do is just read the questions, and then that's it, so. And if so, also, just so everybody's aware, if, I'm gonna go through it, if there's multiple questions of the same question, I will make sure that everybody's name that is read that, I'm not gonna keep jumping around and asking the same question to people, so I'll combine them and let everybody know the name, the person who wanted that question read, and who it's directed to for every single person, so.
Right.
Nothing will fall through the cracks. But you, have to make sure that you have your name and you're a registered voter and that you live in the town of Greenwood to be able to submit a question. We're not gonna have questions from somebody from Sarasota, Florida, that cannot vote in this town. It's gonna be somebody that actually lives in this town itself, that actually is going to vote in this town to be able to ask the question. I wanna make that very clear. That's my comments. Anything?
Just want to thank the police department for all their hard work over 2025, and hopefully we're striving forward, and hopefully we continue to get this great police department to grow. As we see, we are expanding the luxury of vehicles, so we are moving in the right direction with the police department, and the town is growing leaps and bounds as we see, because it's moving this direction. And I would thank all the employees for all their hard work in 2025, and hopefully 26 it goes just as, without any hiccups. So far, so good. That's it.
Fantastic. Mr. Donovan?
No comment.
No comment. Okay, at this time, we would like to move to the next, which is the executive session. Now, this executive session is a strategy session and advice or opinions from attorney at law regarding pending or potential litigation and discuss personal matters in which the names, competency, and abilities of individual employees will be discussed, and strategy sessions and advice or opinions from an attorney at law regarding pending or potential litigation. And also advice from attorney at law involving labor negotiations. So right now,
You need a motion to go.
yeah, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion on Mr. Donovan to go into executive at 7:27. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Massey. Mr. Massey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
All in favor? 7:27, we'll move into
7:57.
7:57. Excuse me, 7:57, we'll move into executive session.